Hello, welcome back to my studio, which you have seen many times if you've seen my other videos, but we haven't really talked about. So what I want to do today is an art tour. Obviously if I have a studio, there's a reason. Lots of art, which you may have vaguely seen in the background, but let's bring it to the foreground. So, I went to community college and then to undergrad, so I have a lot of work from that and also making work on and off since then. I graduated in 2013. So I've got paintings, I've got prints, I've got drawings, and I've started doing wood burning, so I'll try to keep it in categories. But so one of my favorite things is printmaking. I went to school to be a painter. I have a BFA in painting from UNCG here in North Carolina, and so that's what I thought I wanted to do. But we also had to do printmaking courses as part of our degree, and I'm really glad because I just randomly chose one of the two options, which was etching, because I didn't care for the teacher for the lithography. So they ended up really loving it, and I had a great teacher who is one of my favorite teachers ever. So if I could keep these in order. Okay, so I've got some of my etchings here. I have a few that are framed. I have been in gallery shows in the past, so a few of them are still framed. This one is an etching called Locked. So one thing that I really like is animal skulls with the human body. So in this case, people with animal skulls as heads. So it's like doppelgangers, or two almost identical creatures facing off. So it's like a struggle with the self, kind of. Alright. I've got way more than this, but this is what I could readily find. So this is another skull piece. This is just a still life of a skull, which I really just love the way that this one turned out. So it's vertical instead of, I've done a lot of smaller ones of, I have a coyote skull and the raccoon skulls that I did, where they were horizontal, but this one, the perspective of it just looks way cooler. And this is also has what's called chincole. So it has another piece of paper, this rice paper, laid over top of it. So like when you're printing with an etching, you have your zinc plate and you put ink on it, and then you put this rice paper on it, and then the paper that it prints on, so it presses that paper in between it, and it just gives it a really cool effect. It's really subtle. It looks more yellow than the white background paper. That one's called Cervine, which is just like a Latin term for deer, I believe. I'm not sure if it's exactly accurate. I'm an artist before a scientist. So, okay, this one is a double self-portrait, and this one is called a doppelganger. So it's what's called a diptych. It's two pieces together. So this is two separate plates that I printed together, and they're supposed to be in contrast with each other. So like the lighter side of the self and the darker side of the self, so with the backgrounds, it's like contrasting. And they either would look fine by themselves, but together they just tell way more of a story. So yeah, I did a lot of self-portraiture in college. So these were kind of like, so we had a capstone painting class, so a lot of these are also involved with some of the same themes as the work I did for that. Okay, so this one is another one. This one, if you can read it, so in etching you have to do everything backwards, so I had to write this in cursive backwards. So it says "speak to me," but so we had to, I think we had to do a project where we incorporated a book that we found at a local bookstore, and mine was T.S. Eliot poems. So this one was about the hyacinth girl as her burning hair speaks to me, something like that. It was really fun because at that time I read T.S. Eliot and I was reading Heart of Darkness because we were watching Apocalypse Now in a different class, and everything was like connecting together. It was really cool. Alright, and this one, this is called Muse. So one of the less successful pieces in the face. I don't really like it. But the idea was we had to do something extra with our final project, so I ended up hiding some of these in my sister's room, and I had printed it at different stages. So I started out, it was less detailed, and I got more and more detailed, so each one I hid more and more until they noticed it. So that was interesting. But one of my favorite artists is Julie Heffernan, and she does a lot of things like this where they have she used to, one central figure, and they're usually partly nude, and then they a lot of times will have dresses made of things. So like my favorite one, she has a huge dress made out of roses. This one I did deer jawbones, since I had a lot of those. So that. Another piece I did that was similar to the T.S. Eliot one, he has a poem called The Wasteland. I think that's the one where it's like the world, that's how the world ends. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. But so this one's called Angel of Death, so it's a bigger one. So it's just me, but I have almost like skeletal wings made of deer antlers, and then everything around me is just desolate and nothing around but bones. And I think that's all I have at hand of etchings. So after I got out of college, didn't have the equipment to do etching because it takes acid. So you clearly can't have that in your house unless you do a different kind. So anyway, started doing lino cuts. So it's a linoleum block, and you carve out where the negative space is going to be. So it's a little different from etching. So I did that for a little while. I need to get back to it. So I have several that I did. These are a lot more simple. Since it was different with etching, you can get like the smallest line possible of anything. But with this, it's a little harder. So these ones going along with the skeleton humanoid animal people. So this one is called Jewel Cult. I was really getting into catacomb saints, like Paul Koudonaris has a book about those. Thought it was over here. But anyway, really cool. It's called Heavenly Bodies, so a lot of those saints have all these jewels applied to them. It's just really interesting. So this one just has a necklace and he's holding some jewels, but like I said, pretty simple. And so this one, I didn't print these very well. I didn't know you needed to mix oil with them, so they're a little spotty in places. So this one is called the Queen of the Abattoir. And abattoir is like French for slaughterhouse. So just got a carcass of a deer hanging. So when you process a deer on your own, you usually hang it up by its feet, its back feet. So there's the back legs, and this is the head. So the other time, my dad was processing deer that he had killed during hunting. So I was really fascinated with how interesting the colors of the muscles are. Like they're purplish pink, but also sometimes blue with like the sinew going over it, and it's really shiny and wet, so it looks kind of like glittering jewels in different colors. So that's what that's about. And so this one is called Contemplating the Meaning of Death, which usually someone asks me what I'm doing and I'm not really doing anything. I say I'm contemplating the meaning of life. But this one I wanted also to be like a catacomb saint, so it's a pose from one of the specific saints in the book I mentioned, with the head reclining on the hand. So except in this case it's more like a deer person, so it's got more like human body and ribs, and then the leg slash arm has little deer feet bones, and it's got a deer skull. Okay, so this one, I think this is a better one of this, not sure. I think so. So this one is called Triskele, where it's like 3 skulls together. It's inspired by a piece of art that I saw, I think it's a Mastodon album cover, where it's fire and skulls, and then it has a flower underneath. Doesn't exactly look like a flower, but yeah, I'm still learning. And then this one, I think, is the most successful one that I have of those. This is called May Nothing But Death Do Us Part, as inspired by a Fall Out Boy song. So it's like a Siamese twin, conjoined twin, it's a more proper term. A deer, so the rib cage is actually facing, well, depending how you look at it, it's either one rib cage facing forward or the 2 rib cages facing outward. They're connected at the spine, and then they have the neck split off in the male and female deer. The female has a flower crown, but it's more the duality of the self kind of things. I actually gave one of these to Gerard Way when I met him. So let's see. So similar to printmaking is drawing. So I really love drawing, but mostly what I have is figure drawing, and they're from life drawing, so it's just a bunch of naked people. So so I have 2 that I really like. They're self-portraits, but they're not nude self-portraits. So this one, what is it called? So it's called The Jaws of Past Lives. It's kind of a pun of the jaws of life. So this one is a self-portrait. I'll take it back in a minute so you can see the whole thing better. So there's charcoal and the image, but then has watercolor around the edges. And this is a really crazy skull necklace that animal bone necklace that I made. So it's got deer jaws, and then at the bottom it's also got some patterns from a real necklace I have with jewels, and then it's got smaller, I think they're raccoon jaws. So I'll take to give you the full view. So this, I really enjoyed doing these. So this one and then another one. The diamond is just a really interesting format to work with. I have a few paintings that I've also done like that. And then, so this one is also a self-portrait with watercolor. So this one is called Cephalophore, and a cephalophore is cephala is head. So it means saint that carries their own head. So this one, it's got antlers above the head as if they were my own, but also all these different skulls that are attached with my hair. So that was interesting. So I used to have a lot longer hair, and yeah, that was a really fun project to work on. So I do like the colors in it too. It's pink and purple all mixed together. I'm not sure how it actually looks if it works very well, but I like it. Okay, so moving on to paintings. I'll show you some of the much older ones that I've done first. This is one that I did in community college. So I started out with acrylic. We didn't have the facilities to do oil painting, but that's what I ended up doing in undergrad. So just a self-portrait from a selfie that I took in the car and then edited the colors. I actually submitted this one to a show, the North Carolina Museum of Art, which the physical piece didn't get accepted, but all the entries were shown on a slideshow in the museum, so it's kind of there. The image of it, at least. This one was much earlier. This one was called Frustration Plantation, because, so this is an assignment. We had to paint a kind of a portrait of a building, but just like an older building, iconic building. So this is an old barn near my parents' house, which I had originally painted another barn, our own barn, but it was a really sloppy job, a bad composition, and my teacher did not like it. So I painted over it, so the other one is underneath this one. But that's why I was frustrated, and it's also a Rasputina album name. One of my favorites, so yeah. This one turned out a lot better. I'm glad he made me redo it, actually. Okay, now this one is similar. It's also an outdoor piece, also around my parents' house. This one is called Forgotten, and it is a really old baby doll that has been out in the woods behind my parents' house for years and years. It used to be a dump out there, basically, for everyone that lived near there. And just dump their trash around. So yeah, there's this baby doll, and its hair, I assume, used to be yellow, but it's turned green. And its skin, which is probably Caucasian, it turned this really weird gray color, and it's got like all these cracks in it, which you can't really see the cracks in it, but well, some of the cracks in the body especially. But and also his eyeball was gone, and there were little leaves growing up through the eyeballs. So yeah, it's one of the best paintings I did in community college, and also acrylic. So yeah, let's see. So in school at UNCG, I did a lot more portraits, like I mentioned. So these ones, oops, these ones are nude self-portraits, but those were for my capstone classes. So I still made a lot more necklaces of bones to use. And then this one is roses. I left this one, the face, unfinished because I thought it looked more mysterious, I guess. So this one is more a portrait of someone, and this is like an icon of a woman. So this one, actually, when it was critiqued, I was told that it looked exactly like a painter had done like 100 years ago. I thought that was interesting. There's a nude self-portrait of her, and she also had a necklace of dead flowers, and was holding one of them. So I thought that was really cool. I had never seen that other painting before. Let's see. So these ones are actually earlier than that. So like a class before that. So our teacher had us do portraits that were of different sizes, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger. This is like the second largest one. Almost freakishly large. And then this one, the very biggest. turned out facially a lot better. And then the color was really cool because I was standing beside the window and the light coming in reflecting off the grass was green. And so the highlights in it are green, which you wouldn't really expect on a figure painting. Okay. So all these are old paintings. I don't think I mentioned. So this one looks a little rough. For some reason, it keeps having this weird stuff come up on it. So I varnished it after it was dry, which it takes a very long time for it to dry. Oil painting. So this one is just a self-portrait. It's always called Trinity. I forgot. So this one has 3 skulls, a coyote, and 2 raccoons. So that was my final painting for undergrad for capstone class. So I was really happy with how it turned out. And then I also displayed the actual necklace with it as part of the piece. So yeah, this one I varnished it, but so I used a different type of medium that was quick drying, so it would be dry in time to hang it up. So maybe that's why it's reacting with it. It has all this white stuff on it, if you can tell. It's very frustrating. So another piece that I can show you, I'm gonna go show you because it's downstairs. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. A little bit awkward. So this painting I also did in my capstone class is called Harbinger, so like Harbinger of Doom, but it's another figure with the head of a skull. It's a tiger skull, I believe, that we had at school in our still life, so really love it. It stares, though it has no eyes, so this is in our living room. So hopefully you can see, even though it's dark, so it has a, I don't know if it's going to show up, but the background is pretty dark black, but then right around it, it has a halo kind of shape where it's red, like blood red. Okay, so I almost forgot about this one. This was the first one that I did with animal bones for my painting 2 class, but yeah. That's where I first had the idea, and it was supposed to be inspired by Frida Kahlo, like all the really interesting necklaces that she would have in her self-portraits. So it's like my version of that, but a lot darker. Okay, so I have one more big one, I think. Well, one more as big as this. So this one I did, this is like an expanded version of a tiny one I did. There's a gallery near me called the Center for Visual Artists, and they have a fundraiser called 100 for 100. So they have 100 artists make 100 paintings. They're all the same size. They're about 12 by 12, I think, and they're all sold for $100, and all the proceeds go to the gallery. So I donated a few different pieces, and one of them was this, but a lot smaller. So this is just like another catacomb saint. So it's a deer skull, obviously, with all these golden wings. That's a real necklace that I have. And then there's another necklace on the skull, and it has earrings for the eyes, so jeweled eyes. So the smaller one turned out better in my opinion, so maybe this one just isn't finished. But, so I did more. So that one was inspired by this one, which is one of the best paintings I've ever done. So this is a different deer skull with different jewels. So this one is Shrine. So it's a lot smaller and on canvas. So that one. So it's different different jewelry boxes to set it up. So this is a heart-shaped box that keep jewelry in, and this is like the lid of another jewelry box. Just to have those royal looking colors. And then it's got a hair comb behind it, sorry for the glare. There's a hair comb to make a halo and an earring on top of it. Necklace around it, so it's like a partial catacomb saint. So a lot of relics are just one piece of a person, one bone maybe, or a skull. So, and then I made some smaller ones. So this one is a cat skull, so it's called Felis catus, a Latin term. So this one I did similarly, but also has a gold leaf halo around it. A lot of Renaissance paintings of Jesus and other people has a golden halo. So yeah, this one also has, these are bird eggs, bird egg shells that I found, and then a little necklace. Okay, and so like I said, that one is also a diamond shape, and so is this one. This one is a squirrel, so it has squirrel skulls in it. So this one doesn't really have a background except for the shadows, but I try to get them as realistic as possible. The whole thing is supposed to be as realistic as it could be. So we've got just the two partial, I think they're both squirrels, and then these are actually fake flowers, which makes sense because they're blue. But yeah, that's I think that's the smallest painting I've ever done. I think it's 3x3 or 4x4. Okay, so I think that's all the college. Well, some of these last few or after college, and then so more recently I've been doing abstract painting. So everything falls down. So I recently did these. Let go, please. These are acrylic, and I was inspired to do them by Jenna Marbles, actually, on YouTube. So she does basically whatever she wants, but one thing she really wanted to do, she did a Bob Ross painting, but then she also did these. This is a trend, gosh, what's it called? So there's the pour paintings, which I haven't done yet, but these are similar. So you take the paint and you squirt it out of the tube onto the canvas in different shapes if you want. These are just abstract. So you take the different colors and put them directly on the canvas, and then you can smooth them out with palette knife. So this one is lots of different shades of blue and then some white, and the white is actually iridescent. See, it's shiny. So that one was fun. And this is almost the same, but this one has some black in it, so it makes it a lot darker. And then this one is black with some color in it. So I really like that one. And then I started doing it with oil paint because that's what I have the most of. So several of these I've done. I'm not sure, not in any particular order. These are more in order of size. So this one is canvas with some blues, some pinks, some purples, and some red up there. Actually, not sure. It might be upside down. I don't remember. That might be right. Having a Jackson Pollock moment where I don't really care which way it goes. Okay, and then so this one is, I think I did this one right after. So it's pretty similar. This one is on board instead of canvas. So I did some more of the same with less purple. With these, I was just trying to get back into painting without really thinking about, oh, it has to be of something, it has to mean something, it has to be a continuation of the series I've been working on. I'm just trying to make something and not worry about it. So this one is more black, blue, and purple. I really like the contrast of those colors. And again, these are with a palette knife, so it's less controlled. Okay, so these ones are bigger. And I think that's it. And I can also show you around my studio, possibly. Okay. What was it? I think it goes this way. So this one is a black canvas, and then so it has a huge dark area, and it also has some gold paint in it, which is an interesting contrast. And then, oh, I forgot. I also have some wood burning to show you. So, this one is on wood, so with a lot of darker colors. This one does not have any white in it at all, but it has more colors. Like this one had green in it, and also some gold. So, yeah, that is most of the paintings that I've ever done that are worth looking at, in my opinion. Okay, oops, boxing myself in here. Okay, and like I said, I've also recently been working on wood burning, which has been really fun. It feels like printmaking to me. As I talked to someone about it yesterday, they were like, yeah, because printmaking is a process, and so is wood burning. So I got a wood burning pen, and well, it's a whole kit from Michaels, and so they have templates and projects to do, and most everything you need for a basic kit. Super cheap. It was like $7. But so this is the first thing I did. This is the wall hanging, and I modified. No, this is the second one. So the first one I did on the little teeny balsa wood that they gave you. I used their templates, but made my own smart-ass words. If you can tell from my cursive what it says. Couldn't just do the cutesy home decor ones. Like this is the second one. It says Home Sweet Hell instead of Home Sweet Home. I couldn't just do a live, laugh, love thing. Can't do it, man. And then so I started doing more of my own designs, still using the same font that they have. That's really swirly, kind of stylized cursive. This is Bite Me. It has a little mandible. I think it's a cat. No, it's a raccoon. And then so I got some free wood at work, which was really nice. I got it the same day that I got. So I got the wood burning kit the day before, and then the next day I got all this free wood to use. So these are actually coated in something. Probably not meant for this, but they're a nice little pieces that are good size. So this one is Scavenger. So it's got a partial skull, a little bone, and a vertebra. The vertebra didn't turn out very well. Can't really tell what it is. But oh, it says scavenge, not scavenger. So scavenger wouldn't fit. So I'm trying to incorporate text because it feels right with this. I did a tiny bit of text and etching, but all that had to be backwards. So I've never really done text and painting. I don't think, unless it was super early on. But yeah. So this one is Doppelganger, which barely fit, and then it has a owl cave symbol from Twin Peaks, which I've started rewatching. And then this one doesn't have any text, but this one is a skull that I spent a lot more time on. So I think it is vastly improved from the last skull. This one is just a coyote skull. which I think it turned out super cool, really dimensional. So I'm definitely gonna do more wood burning. I have, from that free wood thing, I got some good canvases and wood pieces to prime for painting, and then also some pieces to burn. So definitely gonna do that soon. I guess I can quickly show you around the studio. It's a little messy after cleaning it, but so when you first walk in, I have a random bookshelf with lots of random stuff like jewelry, bones, and things, and notebooks. And so this is my desk, which looks terrible right now, but I just got a sewing machine. I've been working on sewing projects. I also do wood burning there, and then I recently got this big, so I have a display area. That's a huge cow leg that my friend gave me. So I have all this space to put paintings to get them off the ground, and then there's a painting area which is kind of blocked off right now, but I have this antique table that I use to put my palette on, and I have my easel over here as well. That's a light. I can actually open the windows. There's some more of my bones, and then more bones, and a closet. And this is the bookshelf that I always use to film off of. And then we got lots of art books and magazines, so you can't see that the floor is full of skirt patterns. So yeah, that is my studio. Is the biggest studio I've ever had that was just mine. Before I had a different studio, but it was way messier and I barely used it. I used it to make like one painting, a different 100 for 100 painting. But yeah, that place is a lot messier and I had nowhere to organize stuff. But now this place was messy, but I got this table. I got it at the other place, but yeah, rambling. But anyway, point is, better studio now, and actually make things. It's great. So yeah, that was art tour / studio tour. So I'm gonna post this to YouTube, obviously, and my artist's Facebook page. I do have a website, but I haven't updated it. It's just a Wix site. But so I will link to my Facebook in the description. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully have some more art to show you soon. See ya.